Hey guys, Andrew here, and this is part 1 of a Raspberry Pi series I'm starting to make on using the Raspberry Pi with different devices such as these little wireless transceivers, as well as a host of other projects. But to start off with, I'm going to show you how to simply set up the Raspberry Pi with Raspbian, get it set up, get to the Linux desktop, and SSH into it, as well as just update it to the newest version and get a few things set up once you're into Linux. So here we have a Raspberry Pi 3. This is the newest Raspberry Pi on the market currently. It's got Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, which is very nice. And it's also got a faster processor than previously. Now this tutorial will work on any Raspberry Pi, and the upcoming videos will as well. I would recommend, if you don't get a Raspberry Pi 3, you also get a little wireless USB adapter like this. So different adapters will work with Linux. A lot of them will with more or less work. I would recommend you get one that is working out of the box. You can kind of Google for that. But yeah, I'm going to assume that you can get wireless working. If you have any questions, you can always comment on there. But since we have a Raspberry Pi 3 here, we're just going to use the built-in Wi-Fi, which is very nice. We're also going to need a MicroSD card if you have any Raspberry Pi since the B+, so anything that looks like this or the Zero will use one of these MicroSD slots. If you have the original Pi Model B, then that's going to use a full-size SD card. I'm not going to insult your guys' intelligence, you'll know which one it is. So we're going to need one of those, and we're going to need a reader of some sort or an adapter. In this case, I'm going to use this little weird contraption thing I have here. And we're going to go to a Windows computer right now and set up Raspbian on this MicroSD card. Okay, so now we're going to get our MicroSD card and some kind of adapter if you need one. In this case, I have a micro to full-size SD adapter. We're going to plug it into our laptop here and then jump over to the screen. So here we have a drive that popped up. In this case, I called it Raspberry Pi. I'm going to right-click and format it. We're going to call it whatever we want. Make sure the capacity is right. FAT32, 16 kilobytes in this case, but I'm just going to put a default allocation size. You don't need to worry about that too much. Now we're going to click Start. Formatting will erase all data. We click OK. Click Yes. It's not actually in use. Nothing should be using it. Give Windows a second here and format complete. Now what we're going to do is let's just open it up. And then go to where we downloaded Noobs. I'm going to double click that. And then we're going to drag this over and copy it into our SD card. Okay, so now that our files have copied over, we can go ahead and simply unplug our SD card, remove it from this, and plug it into our Raspberry Pi. Next, we're going to go ahead and hook this up to a monitor. Alright, so now I have gone ahead and got my Raspberry Pi here. The SD card is in there. I have a USB keyboard plugged in, HDMI, and lastly, my little power here. There it is, switching on its own. And we see there it's saying resizing partition sizes. So now, just a quick little intro here, and sorry for the shaky cam. So we get to this menu. Make sure you have your keyboard plugged in. We are going to first connect to a Wi-Fi network just so we can get all the updates already. So you can see up there it says press W. I'm going to press W on our keyboard. We're going to scroll down with our arrow keys and select the network we have. Give it the password. Simply type it in. And now press enter. It should connect automatically. Okay. So this is an optional step again, but I recommend you do it. You can choose between the different operating systems you want to install. In this case, we're going to deal with Raspbian only. Don't worry about the other ones. All the tutorials are going to be based on Raspbian. Going down there, we have language. So you can do L. We press L on the keyboard, and we select English United States. Press 9 on the keyboard, and we select US keyboard, just to make sure that's selected. And now we can go ahead and press I to install once First of all, we press Enter to select Raspbian, and we see the X checkmark, and then Install becomes an option. So go ahead and press that. It's saying, warning, this will delete everything on your SD card. We press Yes, and now we have to wait. Alright, so now it's let us know that the OS has been installed successfully, so we're simply going to click Enter. And we should have it restart now. So now Raspbian seems to have started properly, and we are brought to the desktop here. I wasn't aware that it starts up automatically that way, but we can configure it so it does or doesn't. We can just be dropped to a terminal shell normally. So I went ahead at this point and connected a mouse over USB so that we can actually use the GUI more efficiently. You could use the keyboard for this, but if you want to connect to the Wi-Fi, it's going to be hard. So you could use this at this point and it should be working. I'm going to go over to Accessories though, and under Accessories go to Terminal. Now I'm going to zoom in and let's see what... I'm about to just check if we're connected to the internet. So we're going to try to ping a server. So in this case, ping www.google.com. And it's telling us unknown host. So that tells us that we have not connected Wi-Fi yet after install. So sometimes I've had this carry over, sometimes it simply doesn't install. Like carry over Wi-Fi from when we set it up before. So let's just go ahead to the top right corner there and click. And then find our network. And then input our password there. Okay, and now we should have a Wi-Fi connecting symbol. And it should say link is down or link is up. Yeah. We can see now it's associated. So now if we type the same command again. Okay. Saying operation not permitted. So we can just do the same thing as before. We'll just add sudo so it knows we're root user. And now, sure enough, we're getting packet responses from the Google server. Okay, so now that we have it set up, what we're going to do is we're going to set up the Pi so we can run it in what we call headless mode. So headless mode is basically we don't need to have a screen connected at all times. We can just power it and it should connect to the network automatically, and we can SSH into it from another computer. So what we need to do is simply find what its IP address is. So let's type ifconfig. So now we can see here, if we scroll up, we should be able to see, there we go, Internet, Ethernet, should have an IP address. There we go, iNet address 10.0.0.27. So that's, we want to take note of that, and we're going to use that later. Now, before we're done, while we're here, let's go back to our menu at the top here and go under Preferences to our Raspberry Pi configuration, just to make sure that everything is set up correctly. So we're simply going to go under Interfaces, and let's make sure that SSH for now is enabled, and we're going to click OK. If it's enabled, good. Now we can go ahead and unplug the display from the Pi and simply leave power running. And we can unplug all the keyboard and everything, and we're going to go to our computer now and connect to it over Wi-Fi. Okay, so now that we're on our Windows desktop again, we're going to open up a program called Putty, which you can download for free. And we're brought up to this interface. Now, what we can do here is we'll put in the IP address of the Raspberry Pi. So that's 10.0.0.7 in .27 in my case. But you're just going to put in whatever you have. Make sure the connection type is SSH, port number 22. And you can actually save these settings. So we could save this as Pi 3, for example. Go ahead and save the settings. So if you open the program again, you can just double click this and it will start your connection automatically. So let's go ahead and do that. To ask us, warning, security threat, generate a key. We want to say yes. And now we have this little terminal window here. It asks us to log in. So the login is Pi, and the password is Raspberry. It's normal that there's nothing displayed when you type. That's just how Linux does things. So now let's go ahead and sort of kind of full screen this here. Okay, so now it says we're connected, so let's go ahead and update the Raspberry Pi. So we're going to do sudo apt-get update. So what this is going to do is it's going to go to our package manager, and it's going to grab the newest list of packages that are available. Okay, so now that that's done, we'll go ahead and actually upgrade the packages. So we'll do sudo apt-get upgrade. We'll hit enter. And it's going to ask us if that's okay. We'll type Y, press enter. And it's going to upgrade the 11 packages that it's found. Okay, so now that we're done with that step, we can go ahead and update the Raspberry Pi firmware. So we're going to go sudo rpi-update. And this will go ahead and update our firmware on the Pi, and this should not take that long. Okay, so now that we're done with that step, we can go ahead and configure the Raspberry Pi, make sure everything in the install worked correctly. So let's do raspi-config. Let's do sudo raspi-config. So now that we're in the Raspberry Pi config menu, we simply want to make sure that first you have expanded your file system if you haven't done so already. If you're using Noobs, you don't need to worry about this, but if you installed it manually through some other means, then you'll want to do that. Noobs automatically does this, but some systems don't, so you want to make sure that you have full usage of your SD card. If you do it under Noobs, it just won't let you do anything. It will tell you you probably use Noobs, so it's fine anyway. You can change the user password, and if you're going to be SSHing and connecting to the network, I would strongly recommend that you change it. Under boot options, I like to connect under console. You could also do console auto login if you want to, which is self-explanatory, or you could do desktop mode and desktop auto login. You don't really need to start the desktop, and the desktop actually takes up quite a bit of resources from the Pi. So I would recommend you always start in console mode, and you can go on from there. And I'll show you how to start desktop mode once you're in console. You don't need to wait for network boot. You don't need to really care about internalization options. You could change those if you wanted. You could enable the Raspberry Pi camera. You could add to Rastack. You could overclock the Pi, which is interesting. You could go to advanced options, which you should go to. So first of all, we have overscan, which if your monitor or TV isn't showing the Raspberry Pi screen properly, like it's clipping part of it, it's too small, too large, you could go into overscan mode, and it will guide you to prevent that from happening. You could change the host name of the Pi, which by default I think it's either Pi or Raspberry Pi. SSH you want to keep enabled, obviously. You want to enable SPI I2C, so you want to go into all of these, say yes, yes, okay, and then go back into advanced options and enable SPI I2C and one wire for the sake of our videos. You could also look at the other stuff, update the tool, etc. But that's it. We're going to go back and we're going to finish. So it asks us if you want to reboot, say yes. The Raspberry Pi will disconnect from Putty, so it's going to give us an error saying that the Pi disconnected, blah, blah, blah. You can just click OK. We're going to give the Pi a bit of time to reboot. Should take about a minute, maybe less. Alright, so once we think that the Pi has finished, we simply right-click the top of the tab here, and we click Restart Session. It's going to ask us to log in as Pi, put in our password, and now we're back in. Now, the only thing you need to do if you want to actually start your user interface, and you wouldn't do this in a SSH terminal because SSH will only display text. But if you are on your Pi right now, and this is what you saw, all you need to type is start X in one word, and this would start the user interface if we pressed it. And in this case, we can't do that. You could also do sudo start X, and that would start. In this case, it won't start because we're over an SSH connection. But yeah, this is pretty much it. So now you're already set up with your Pi, and you can go ahead, connect to the internet, and start working on the projects, which I am going to be making soon
or simply follow any other tutorials you find online. So thanks for watching, guys. This was Andre, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure to like, subscribe, and comment. It doesn't really help me in any way. I don't make money from this, but it does keep me wanting to make videos and wanting to get better at them if I know people are actually interested in my videos. So thanks for watching. Have a good one.
Jump them or see the values of those and just try to... This is a 160 watt Pico PSU, and depending on the kind of form factor I'm going to go for, I'm either going to keep this or I'm going to go to a mini ITX form factor power supply. A OCZ Vertex 2 60GB drive I had lying around, so I decided I'd decase it and